Alright, some of you may not know this, but I actually really love the Lego Movie and its sequel. And somehow, someway, my love of the franchise has made its way into one of my dreams lately and produced some interesting results. So, without further ado, here's pretty much my brain's pitch of the Lego Movie 3, with obvious nonsensical dream problems. Here we go! Alright, well, my dream started off with Queen Whatevera and Batman telling the rest of the cast that they're leaving to go on a honeymoon. Funny enough, the cast really didn't seem to care much. They just kind of told them to have a good time and shrugged it off. I don't know what their problem was. After the happy couple left, Lucy just decided she apparently really wanted Dunkin' Donuts? I don't know. They all left to go get some Dunkin'. And oddly enough, the town was back in its apocalyptic ruined state. So, I don't know what happened there. Maybe the sister was just going through a really edgy emo phase and decided she wanted everything to be apocalyptic again. As I said, I have no clue. So, the cast was just walking through the broken down town. And when I say cast, I mean Emmett, Lucy, Unikitty, Metalbeard, and Benny. Spaceship! They were all walking down the streets of town when suddenly Metalbeard pointed out that Emmett wasn't anywhere to be seen. And once again, the rest of the cast, they just didn't care. They were just like, yeah, he'll turn up sometime or another, and they just kept walking. At this point, I'm wondering if the gang had a fight or something. So, sometime later, they ended up at the abandoned Dunkin'. And then Lucy states, obviously, the obvious, this place is abandoned. It probably doesn't have service anymore. Like, yeah, no duh, half the roof was falling off the place and you're expecting to get a cappuccino? The group all gets sad that they can't have donuts or something when the order menu for the drive-thru starts talking. It sprouts a face very similar to Queen Whatevera's and tells them that it is indeed open for business, but with a catch. If you want to order something on the menu, you apparently had to list every single ingredient in that item. And it's not as simple as saying, I want a BLT, and then saying it has bacon, lettuce, and tomatoes. No. You have to list exactly what ingredients are in the bread, exactly what type of lettuce is on the sandwich, all a bunch of crazy crap. So of course the gang thinks this is stupid, so they go to walk away. However, the talking menu has better ideas. It sucks them all in through its mouth, and they end up in some sort of disco ball dancing room. So now I'm just getting confused. Now, at this point, you finally get to see where Emmett has run off to. It cuts to him standing at the top of a tall building in the city. And he seems to look a little confused and actually kind of worried. Just then, a very strong gust of wind blows by and messes his hair all up. Emmett doesn't even seem to notice until he looks at the building next to him, which is conveniently covered in glass, so it's pretty much a giant mirror. Oddly enough, he starts to freak out and he quickly scrambles to fix it. Wow, Emmett, I never knew you were such a fashionista. Still looking a little paranoid, he decides to master build a staircase down the side of the building and go see what his friends are up to. I mean, I don't know why he left them in the first place, but whatever. Back to the psychopath menu at Dunkin' Donuts, apparently. It's forcing them all to dance like it's controlling them or something. And in the funniest way, Emmett just kind of casually walks into the room. He sees what's going on, and the rest of them tell him to run away before it happens to him too. And in typical Emmett fashion, he asks if anyone just asked the menu to stop. Lucy acts very confused. I mean, obviously she's thinking he's being crazy. But completely in character, Emmett walks up to the menu, smiles, and just says, "Can you please stop?" There's a moment of silence between him and the order menu as they just stare at each other. Then apparently Miss Menu just goes, "Sure," and he just lets them all go. Emmett turns around and smiles at the rest of the cast, who are looking insanely baffled. He just does like a little laugh and then kind of just leads everyone out the escape route. A door. So yeah, there was apparently just a giant door there the entire time. I mean, I don't know why I'm questioning the door when the entire rest of the dream so far has made no sense at all. So this door, apparently, it just leads to a room that looks like a hotel lobby. I don't know about you, but I've never seen a Dunkin' Donuts with a hotel lobby in it. But this is a dream. It doesn't have to make sense. So they're in the lobby, and Benny points out that they still didn't get any snacks. So, logical answer? They just go to the kitchen. Now they're all somehow in a big kitchen area. And once again, Lucy points out the obvious. This place has been abandoned for a long time, and everything probably is incredibly old. So, non-edible. Unikitty pulls out a gallon of milk from the fridge and says, Hey, look, guys, this is probably still good. Metalbeard is appalled and says that the milk is green, so it's probably not. Looking on the bright side, or the sweet side, I guess, Unikitty just theorizes,
Oh, it's probably a mint milkshake.
and then she just chugs it. she just drinks it. I was like, good lord, my girl, why? Why would you do this to yourself? Yeah, she realized it wasn't a mint milkshake very soon after. She runs out of frame. So they go back to the big lobby area to realize Emmett's gone again. Though not for long this time, cause he comes running around the corner with what looks like ice pops. You know the ones, ice pops. The gang, especially Unikitty, gets super excited by this. Benny, being the reasonable one this time, says that they're probably old too, just like the rest of the stuff in the kitchen. Unikitty then points out that this stuff has so much sugar and, I quote, stuff that'll rot your insides that it'll never go bad. And they all just take her word for it. Look, guys, I get it. She's your friend and all, but don't trust the cat who just drank Lord knows how many year-old milk. They all just said ice pops, and I believe that Metalbeard was the one who noticed that there was a big label going across his. It said soap. The things weren't ice pops. They were soap. Emmett, wow. And seemingly out of literally nowhere, everybody surrounding the main cast, like everybody. It was like they were all invisible and there the whole time, and they just reappeared for some reason. And everyone just started laughing at Emmett. The rest of the main cast didn't even seem to care either. I would assume that at least one of them would stand up and tell the crowd to knock it off. But no, I guess not. The more the crowd laughed at my poor boy, the more he seemed to get more embarrassed and kind of angry. He kept yelling things like, quit it and knock it off. But the crowd just kept laughing and pointing at him. It's then where the crowd's laughter got more intense, and strangely, more severe winds started to pick up out of nowhere. The winds were blowing everything everywhere. But the main focus was how much it was messing up Emmett's hair. The more anger he seemed to get, the more the wind started to pick up. The more wind seemed to blow, the more his hair was getting messed up. Finally, for once in the dream, he broke character and he snapped. He master broke his way through the crowd and literally broke down the door. That's when the cast snapped out of whatever sort of trance they were in and ignoring people and started to look at each other worried. Like, they're actually worried about Emmett now. And then it zooms into Lucy, where she looks like she had just realized something important. Next, you see Emmett standing on the same building he was standing on before, except this time a sort of trap door opened underneath him and he went falling through. He crashed and landed onto a dark, muddy floor, and when he got up, he was in some sort of underground black market type thing. He tried his best to brush off all the mud and dirt on his vest, but there was one stain in particular that he couldn't get off, one that scared him half to death. A mud splat in the shape of an R on the left side of his jacket, and once again, there was a conveniently placed mirror behind him. When he turned around, he saw his hair was messed up again. In a panic, he rushed to go fix it, but apparently the tunnel was really windy. He couldn't fix it. It just kept getting messed up no matter how hard he tried. Even more panicked than before, he tried his best to run out of the underground marketplace. As he was stumbling through the crowd, he bumped into someone who was apparently selling blue fruit punch. I don't know. As he ran by, he tripped over the rock and the fruit punch spilled all over his vest. He tried to wipe it off, but apparently it had stained his entire outfit blue. It was at this point of the dream where I started to realize what the problem was. He didn't want his hair being messed up because it made him look exactly like Rex. Now, spoiler alert for movie 2. If you're not familiar with Rex, he's a version of Emmett from the future, who is pretty much cold and battle-hardened. Yes, indeed, he is the coolest character in the second movie, and I love him. Anyway, back to the dream. Emmett was scared of turning into Rex. That's what this whole thing was about. He then ran by another stand where the stupid banana guy was juggling knives. Like I said, nothing in this dream makes sense. Anyway, if you're not familiar with Banana's whole gag in the second movie, it's that he's constantly slipping. So, staying on theme with the gag, Banana lost his grip on the knife and it went flying across the room, just missing Emmett and giving him a little scar across the cheek. Now, this isn't movie canon, but according to dream lore, Rex had a scar across his cheek. Yeah, that wasn't a thing, but whatever. As he pushed his way through the crowd, he sees two cloaked figures, one big and one small, running from a few Stormtroopers? Look, I don't even really like Star Wars all that much, so I have no idea what was going on in my head while I was dreaming this. Anyway, some Jedi character, I don't even think he was canon. I think it was just some random Lego character with a lightsaber. Anyway, he went over and essentially chopped the big Lego character guy in half, but he was plastic, so he didn't actually get hurt or have blood. It just kind of looked like when you take the legs off of a Lego figure. The hood fell off and it was revealed to be some sort of Anakin figure. I guess the stormtroopers said something about finally catching him. I don't really remember. It's not important though. What I believe I remembered happened next was Emmett walking over and looking down at him and saying something along the lines of, "Oh, good idea. Stop him before he turns evil." At least I know that much about Star Wars lore. In the sort of shock, I remember Emmett covered his mouth and slowly started to back away, shaking his head like he couldn't believe what was happening. He started to run back toward the exit as fast as he could, and apparently he had pushed himself too much and he had just face planted. He was out of the tunnel and had dirt all over his face, in the same exact place that Rex has his little, beard thing. Now comes the saddest part of the dream. I'm not gonna cry remembering this. Looking completely crushed and defeated, he just sat there on his hands and knees, and my poor boy, he started crying. And he started saying things like, "That's it. I can't stop it. I can't prevent it anymore. I have to turn into him. It's like my destiny. It's over." Then out of nowhere, the wind was seemingly blocked from blowing on him, so his hair wasn't being as messed up as it was before. And his friends were standing by his side, stopping the wind from reaching him. He looked up at them, kind of confused, as Lucy reached out her hand and helped Emmett back up on his feet. He explained to them what he thought was going on, but all of his friends dismissed it. Unikitty hopped over and used her magic to seal the cut. Metalbeard smoothed his hair back out, and Benny did something to take off the stain from his vest, leaving Lucy to wipe the dirt smudge off his face. Emmett started smiling and getting really teared up as they went in for a big group hug. They all reassured him that no matter what, they'll never let him turn into Rex. Just then, the moment was completely ruined by Queen Whatevra and Batman falling from the sky and then making an epic landing pose. The group questions why they were back so early, and Batman's response was surprisingly incredibly in character. "We were so awesome that they kicked us out of the movie theater," he said as he walked away. And then Queen Whatevra kind of leaned in and told them the truth. He got so mad at the part of the movie that he threw a Batmarang at the screen and ripped it. That's why we got kicked out. She chuckled and then followed after Batman. The rest of the gang just kind of rolled their eyes and went in for another hug again. And then the worst part happened. I woke up. Well, that was a pretty interesting dream, and quite a long one at that. Though I suppose I have had a lot weirder dreams, and sometimes they're even longer than this. So yeah, that was my brain's abomination of a story. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, leave a weird dream that you had in the comments, and stay creative. Bye!